Hey, and welcome back. So, I'm not gonna lie to you. Look, my eraser's stuck to my ruler for some reason. It's all sticky. I don't know if I can use this thing anymore. I'm just gonna leave it like that. Call it a loss. That was funny. So what are we doing today? I would like to add some background elements to this, although I'm kind of questioning just painting them on. I'm going to clean up a few of these lines here, not to confuse me as much. Now, one thing I've been forgetting about this piece as we've been working on it is the margins. Something you'll see me do quite often. So I think the margins with this one will be like this. It'll be right about here, here, maybe more like that. I'll bring it up a bit. How long is that on here? About, so it's going to be about like that. They'll probably do really skinny side margins like this. But definitely want to get something in there. That's why we just doodle. So I mentioned last time how I kind of I put the fish in there, and I can't do like a big splash like in front of the fish now. Do a little bit of a splash. You hear that beeping? It sounds like my breakfast is almost ready. I need a reference, so I'm going to go get something real quick. Here we go. Resilience. Now, I found something out with this, and I kind of want to show you on camera. I don't know how well this is going to show up, so I'm going to turn the lights off. Now, if you're ever buying art, and you question, did I get an original or did I get a print? Take a black light, because like this might look really even to you right now, yes? When you put it under black light, you can very clearly see a lot of the brush marks, the uneven tones, and things that don't show up as well to the human eye. I mean, some things like the mouth that blends together, but like right there around the collar. Just a little interesting thing. I've seen a lot of people now, they'll buy art online. They'll be like, did this person send me AI? And if you just look at the hands, you can tell half the time, but it's like, dude, they're not even printing. They're not even like using the AI to get the image and then painting it. They're just printing it. People are buying prints. Kind of different than when I was a kid. A lot like that chick on Daria. Yes, I'm bringing up Daria 2 episodes in a row. I'm actually recording this the day after the other one, so it's more fresh in my mind than yours probably. But I did for a while paint recreating other people's work in acrylic. It was just very patchy, heavily, that Picasso-inspired style. And I didn't enjoy doing it. I could still get my water, though, pretty good. Now, much like that chick, people knew it wasn't the original. The only thing is, it's like you'd be in a high tourist area. You paint things that go with that tourist biome. The thing is, it wasn't, for me at least, it wasn't financially worth my time to spend these. I mean, you see how long it takes to make even something small like this. To make these big pieces knowing they're not going to sell. And I also didn't want everything I do to be freaking a copy of something. Now, what makes that different than what I'm doing right now? Well, this to me is not a copy. It is inspired by. I, of course, took elements from all kinds of pictures I like to combine them together. I mean, I talked about this style, seeing this style of picture in a restaurant I go to, combining it with the style of Avatar and the water, which, I mean, clearly I take a lot of influence from Japanese art when making that design. Now, I might leave these parts sectioned out this time because simply I want it to look more flowy. But you can see how, like, I'm going to have the dark spots, all that. It will be pretty freaking cool. And again, I'm blowing past my margins. And a lot of this may get covered up. It may change. But right now, it's getting painted. This stuff also helps me dictate where my margins are going to be later. Maybe I should just like finish up her waist, actually. Because everyone else is going to the bottom, and if I leave her waist high, it's going to overly dictate where I can put that stuff. I don't want to be limited. I already limited myself a little bit more than I would like in this piece. So, Kiyo. It typed in J Uso. Alright. Kiyoshi Warrior. And you see their waist, and like every single one, it's like covered by a fan or something. Oh, here we go. So they got that tie around their waist. I was going to say her waist goes like this. And then whoosh. Maybe more like whoosh. Make her a little thicker. It's really just like the, a lot like a kimono's tie. You know, I was watching this thing recently where they're describing how it's like, if you go to Japan and you get a kimono, like, for a festival, definitely go to one of the places that, like, does it. Like, they fit you, they tie it for you, they do all that. And there's no shame in it, because even a lot of Japanese people don't understand how kimonos work and how to properly tie them. And I thought that kind of sucked for two reasons. One was, like, anime. You see kimonos a lot in anime. And if they don't understand how the clothing goes together, how are they going to understand how to draw it? You know, you see that with armor a lot. People don't understand how armor layers together, and they'll just have like floating shoulder pads and whatnot. But the other thing I thought is like, alright, so let's say you go to this festival, you buy this kimono, you have someone help you put it on. You're in trouble if you gotta go to the bathroom at any point in that night. Like, to the point where you're gonna have to take it off to sit on the toilet. How are you going to get it back on? I thought it was funny. Alright, so we got that there. I'm just going to kind of erase what's in her arm so I don't get distracted and ink it later when I don't need to. I guess I should also have her stripe come all the way down, right? This thing. I put some folds in here I didn't have. There we go. Maybe like this. Yeah, there we go. That looks way better. I would really, right about now, I would absolutely love if I could be putting more water on top of everything, but the thing is, I already committed. It'll kind of give to the layering effect, though. As like I said earlier, I can always go and add cutouts. I can do cutouts over everything, which I might. You know, I'm still debating that, whether I want to do that or not. But right now, we're just going to do some Faish. Then do some basic elements behind them. A lot of this will be lost. A lot of this will be changed. And of course, it's going to have a nice hazy purpley sky. Much like, if you look at the wave, which is, I mean, there's a lot of really great Japanese art that has water in it, and it's very similar to the wave, but they have a very dark sky. And when I was younger, I thought that was a mistake. Why is it black? But I found out that a lot of the storms the storm that is supposed to be representing is actually what's reported at the time, that the sky blacks out like that. So I thought it was kind of interesting when I found that. So I got my test paper here. Pin's working fine. A little too fine right there. See, that's the thing. It does one fast stroke fine, then you get into the nitty gritty, and it's like, I'm gonna fudge you up. I love when people draw things and they don't understand how something goes together. Like, one thing you'll see a lot, even in things like American Dad and whatnot, is they'll draw, like, say, an AK-47, and the selector lever will be blocking the gas port. It'll be essentially in what we would call safety, because it cannot fly back because that lever is being blocked. I'm going to change pins a lot. By the safety selector and a gas port cover. A lot of times they won't even have it hooked up to anything. It'll just be like a big F on the side of the gun. What's even funnier is when that makes it into like actual things. So like if you watch one of my favorite channels is Forgotten Weapons. Actually, it's hosted by one of my favorite YouTubers, Ian. Or Ian. I have trouble pronouncing your name. I'm sorry. Ian. So he also does a diving channel. I think that one's more recent, though. Anyways, on Forgotten Weapons, he has a really good episode about what we would call bootleg guns in China during one of their warring periods. You know, local lords would just get blacksmiths to make firearms, usually based off imports, a lot of times Russian imports. And they would have no idea what they were making. They'd take something like the range selector on the gun, and they would just cast it as one solid piece where you can't move it. So it's there just for decoration. Or they would stamp random words on it, or letters. I think I also seen that in Arabic. There's a few places in the Middle East where they make firearms by hand, and they would just stamp random, like, crest and English words on there, so when people are buying them from them, they look more credible. But it's funny because you have what is essentially a moving, again, you have a moving mechanical piece, and it doesn't even move. Mechanics are one of those things, like as a kid, I really struggled to draw. I really got mad when I draw robots because I didn't look robot-y enough. And then I grew up and I realized a lot of the robots I was trying to draw looked more like suits of armor, like Gundam, or just the shit that I thought made it look cool and realistic was not realistic at all. And that's not how they actually look. Good Point is like, it was a little bit the Samurai Jack influence, but robots, they would get hurt, and I would have like wires sticking out of them. I would have oil, poking out, squirting out, and like substitute for like blood and veins and whatnot. But it's like, As I grew up, I learned more about machines and robotics and how they move. I was like, oh boy. So all the stuff I got good at drawing, I later found out, I'm like, yeah, that actually doesn't look realistic at all. And then a lot of the drawings I thought were really good robots, I now think, like, it looks like crap. That thing can't even move. You can tell some of these lines I'm just making, I'm going to have to deal with later. It sounds like I need to take a look at my fish filter again. It's making some funny sounds. Probably do that right after I finish this up. I probably just didn't get all the clog out of it yesterday. Or I did get the clog out of it, and that's something else that's trapped in the pipe that moved down to the motor. This wave here. I would have loved to incorporate some blossoms into there, but I don't really remember flower blossoms of any kind being associated with the Kyoshi Warriors. Tell you though, if it ever comes to a channel, I'm doing a bunch of waves with some cherry blossoms mixed in. This is why. Like, yes, I wanted to do this then, but it didn't make sense with the piece. You'll find that in art sometimes is just stuff you want to do. Changes, or you just get ideas when working on other things. If anything, you should at least learn something every time you paint, because, you know, it's like I say, mistakes are part of life. They're going to happen, especially with art. But if you don't learn anything from your mistakes, then they truly are mistakes. That's when you really fail. Okay, let's take a look at that puppy there. Okay, I think I got all the details I want. So, next step, I'll be erasing all these pencil marks and I'll be coloring it up. And we'll be seeing that in the next video. And like I said, I'm going to try to keep these coming out twice a week for a while until I catch up to where I want to be in my schedule. So, make sure to look for that. It'll be coming out Monday or Friday consistently for quite a while. But, you know, until then, have a great day.